Hi everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel RatherBeReading, and today I'm bringing to you my February wrap-up. Long time no see, it feels like. I haven't sat down to film a video in over 2 weeks. I think I have been extremely busy, and I haven't spent more than an hour at a time in my house during daylight hours in like over 2 weeks. So this is the first chance I've had to film, and as I said, I'll be filming my February wrap up for you guys. So let's jump in and talk about my statistics for the month as usual. So I read a total of 18 books in the month of February, which I'm really happy with. That was made up of 15 novels, 2 children's books, and 1 graphic novel. I read 12 physical books, 1 ebook, and 5 audiobooks, and 7, so excluding audiobooks as always, I read 7 books that I own and 6 books from the library. So once again, even though it's only just over, I did read more books that I own than from the library this month, which is a statistic that I'm very happy with. I read a total of 6,295 pages, which averaged out to 225 pages per day. So again, my average is over 200 pages a day, so I'm really happy with that. The longest book I read was 565 pages, and the shortest book I read was 110 pages. The highest star rating I gave in February was 4.5 stars, and the lowest star rating I gave was a 2 star. So my average star rating for February overall was a 3.71 stars, which is actually a pretty good average star rating for me, so I'm pretty happy. So as usual, I did film a mid-month wrap-up, and I spoke about the first 8 books that I read in the month in that video. So go over to that video, which I'll link in the cards for you guys if you haven't checked it out to see about those books. I will just be talking about the 10 books that I read in the second half of February in this video. So let's jump straight in. The first book I want to talk about is The Drowning House by Elizabeth Black. This is a book that I actually listened to on audio. It's just a book that I picked up at complete random from Overdrive. I picked it up mainly because it had gothic in the description, because that is one of my massive buzzwords. The book is about a woman who has recently lost her daughter. Her daughter died. I can't remember how old her daughter was, but she was fairly young, and she died, and the main character is obviously grieving a lot and trying to get over things, and she returns kind of to her hometown on this island, and there's some kind of a mystery about the past of the island, and it's all about her, you know, getting re-involved in her life on the island type of thing. I didn't love this book, I'm not gonna lie. It was quite boring. It was supposed to be this mysterious type of story. It lacked any suspense whatsoever. I didn't like any of the characters. I just really didn't enjoy it, to be honest. In the end, I gave this one 2 stars. The next book I want to talk about is Ida by Alison Evans. This is a book that I was actually approved for on NetGalley, so thank you to the publishers and NetGalley for approving me to read this one. This is actually by an Australian author, and it is I'm not sure if it's described as being young adult, maybe like a young adult / new adult story about a girl who can change her mind. She can like go back in time whenever she like makes a decision or something happens, and she's like, oh no, I don't want that to happen. She can kind of jump back in time just like a few minutes or whatever and make a different decision. And then things kind of start to get a bit weird. I don't want to say more than that because I don't want to give things away. This story has a lot of diversity, like a lot of diversity. The main character is a biracial, half Vietnamese, bisexual. Her love interest is genderqueer. There is also some gender fluid characters. Oh, I'm forgetting something. There was also a transgender character. So a lot of diversity, which was really great. I will say that parts of the story did get like a little confusing, and I thought that there was an unnecessary side plot also kind of going on. I did think that Ida, the main character, there was parts of her life that were just like super relatable. She's in kind of like a crappy, you know, she's working in like a coffee shop. She doesn't love her job. She's not sure what she wants to do, and she's trying to kind of move forward with her life, but not sure how to achieve that, and I just found that super relatable. I also did think that the story had some really great messages about living with your choices and the choices that you make affecting your future, because obviously in the story the main character can go back and change her mind, and obviously in real life that's not something that we can do. We make a choice, something shit happens, we have to live with it. So I did really like the messages around that. In the end, I gave this one 3 stars. So I did really enjoy it, but I did have some problems with it at the same time. So yeah, I gave this one 3 stars. The next book I completed was The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry. I do have a full review for this book, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. I liked some things, I didn't like others. I gave it 3.5 stars, but do check out my review, which I'll link up above for you guys if you haven't already. Next, I completed Saga Volume 6 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Now, I did really enjoy this, however, it was probably my least favorite of the series so far, but I feel like that was purely down to the time between volumes. It has been about a year, I think, since I read Volume 5, and I just was a little bit disconnected from the story. It took me a while to get back in and remember exactly what was going on. I did still really enjoy it though. I thought it had some really great comments in there about diversity in books and things like that, which I really, really enjoyed. I also really liked the ending, and of course I love the artwork as always. So in the end I gave this one 4 stars. The next book I completed was another audiobook, and that was Bells by Jen Kalanita. So again, this was just another random one that I picked up on Overdrive because I saw that they had the whole trilogy on audio, so I decided to give this first book a go. This is just a young adult contemporary story about a girl who is living in kind of a rougher neighborhood, and she lives with her grandmother, and her grandmother is becoming increasingly sick, and she discovers that her grandmother has organized for this long lost uncle that she didn't know that she had to take her in and become her guardian. Her uncle has 3 kids, and her uncle is also like a politician, and he's aiming to become a senator, I believe it is. So he's in the public eye. He's also very well to do, so she moves to this, you know, upper class neighborhood in North Carolina, and it's kind of about her dealing with her life. It's a very predictable story. I mean, that's just the kind of story that it is. It's very predictable. I did enjoy it. I will also say that I felt a very particular connection to the main character, Isabel, because she moved into this new school and she was really struggling with being the new girl. I moved schools a lot. I changed school I changed school a couple of times, but I changed school at the start of year 11. Like the 11th grade, and I have a very distinct memory of sitting in the car with my mother on my first day of school and being terrified to get out of the car because I didn't want to go in because I didn't know anyone, and it was just awful. And the way that some of these girls were treating the main character, like I just really felt for her. I really connected to the story in that way, and that's purely a personal thing for me. So a lot of people wouldn't get that kind of personal connection out of the story that I did get, but I did enjoy it. I actually really, really enjoyed it, and I gave it 3.5 stars. Next, I completed City of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare. This is book 5 in the Mortal Instruments series. I enjoyed this. I really did. I thought that it was definitely slow in parts, and there did feel like there was a lot of filler in this. Like a lot of filler. It really did feel like a lot of filler. But I did really enjoy it. I definitely thought it was better than book 4. Book 4 is definitely my least favorite of the series, but I did enjoy it, so I gave this one 3.75 stars. Next, I listened to another audiobook, and that was Scrappy Little Nobody by Anna Kendrick. Anna Kendrick does narrate this book herself, and that was my favorite part of the audiobook. It really felt like Anna Kendrick and I were best friends, and we were just like having a chat, and that was totally awesome. I did miss out on a few times she mentioned photos, and I obviously couldn't see the photos because I was listening to it on audio and I don't own a physical copy. So that was a little bit disappointing, but the audiobook I think more than made up for that. So if you do have a physical copy, I recommend listening to the audiobook and following along so you can look at the pictures, because I do wish I'd seen those, but I did really love the audiobook. I will also say that I didn't think I didn't think she got quite as personal as what I was expecting. But at the same time, I totally respect her for that, like that there's some things that she doesn't want to talk about. I totally respect it. I really loved getting to hear kind of how she got her start and how much she, why people thought might have thought she had already gotten quite successful because she was, playing a side character on a movie like Twilight. She really wasn't. And I just really enjoyed it. Like I said, it just felt like we're having a chat, and I really, really enjoyed it. I gave this one 4 stars. Apologies if the camera angle has changed. I ran out of memory and I didn't realize until I had completely finished filming the video, so that was great. And then I re-recorded the whole end part and then I realized I wasn't recording. So today is really not my day, you guys. So I checked the footage. I know where I was up to. I was talking about The Closers by Michael Connolly. This is the next book that I completed in the month of February. This is the 11th book in the Harry Bosch series. I really enjoyed this. In this installment, we're getting Bosch back in an environment in which I personally really enjoy seeing him, so that was really great. Also, as the mystery was really like unfolding towards the end, I really couldn't put this down, so that was great. It did definitely have some slower parts, but I did really enjoy it. I gave it 3.75 stars. The next book I completed was Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. This is the third and final book in the Infernal Devices trilogy, and I'm so excited to have completed this trilogy. Having said that, I really enjoyed this, but it wasn't my favorite book in the trilogy. I know a lot of people, I think this is their favorite. My favorite book is book 2, Clockwork Prince. I enjoyed that one a little more than this one, but I did really, really enjoy this. For me, the way that the story wrapped up, particularly in the epilogue and the kind of resolution of the love triangle, without spoiling anything, I found it very convenient. And I struggled with that a little bit, but I did enjoy this a lot. This book was very emotional. There's like a lot of emotions happening while reading this. I was also really excited because there is something that I predicted in book 2 that was going to happen, and it did happen, and I was just really like proud of myself that I managed to pick that. So I did really love this. Not my favorite in the trilogy, but I did give this 4.25 stars. And the final book that I completed in the month of February was yet another audiobook, and that was Shelter by Jung Yoon. This is an adult literary fiction novel that follows a man who has a realtor over to his house one day to like assess his house, and they see this woman outside and she's naked, and then he realizes that it's his mother. I don't want to tell you any more than that because I feel like it's the type of story that you should really just kind of delve into. Having said that, there are trigger warnings in this for abuse and violence. I do want to let you guys know that in case there's anyone who really does struggle with those topics, because I personally did find it quite confronting. Unlikable main characters. Boy howdy was there an unlikable main character, and this was just a lot of unlikable characters just in general, and I really didn't like the main character. I did struggle with that a bit because I found it hard to connect to the story because of my extreme dislike for this man. At first, I wanted to root for him, but I just couldn't because I just didn't like him. Having said that, there was some beautiful writing in this. There was also some great messages that I kind of took away from the story that I really did like, but my enjoyment level just kind of didn't get to where I wanted it to. I did enjoy it, but I just didn't quite get there, if you know what I mean. In the end, I gave this 3.5 stars. So those are all of the books that I managed to complete in the month of February. Have you read any of these books? Have you had any thoughts? I would love to chat with you guys in the comments down below. How did your guys' reading month go in February? I hope that you guys got a lot read. I am really happy with having completed 18 books because my life has gotten like hecka busy. Like if it wasn't for my commute and my lunch break, I literally wouldn't be reading basically for 2 weekends in a row. Like last weekend, I didn't read a word the whole weekend, which is just crazy. And the weekend before I was away, I did manage to read a bit just purely because I was in airports. So I managed to get some reading done, but I've just been so busy. So hopefully I'm going to have some more time to film. I was hoping to film another video straight after this, my TBR, but I'm losing the light. So I will wrap this up so that hopefully I have time to film that video. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to see more from my channel. But that's all I've got for this video today. Bye guys.